Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast, and today it is a 1 vs 1 on Kholodny Ferma, and checking out our players, we have our U.S. Forces player, Insane Simon, and our Red Wehrmacht player, Jove, and it is Kholodny Ferma, so we have our victory points straight across the center of the map, all the way up and down, and we have our fuel points slightly in the corners of the map, here and here in the south, and our munitions here and here just above and below the center victory point. So very easy to take your fuel point for the individual on the respective sides, but a little bit harder to take and hold the munitions points, and a little bit harder to take your opponent's fuel point. So now, checking out the units, we have 2 riflemen and the rear echelon troops moving out. Took the territory point. Looks like he's going to start taking the fuel point right off the bat. Engineers have taken the territory point. It looks like they may be going for their fuel point right off the bat as well. Nope, just going to take this fuel point, this territory point first. And going to part a little bit of razor wire on these walls here to prevent his opponent from using these against him.
You dopes, listen up.
And 2 riflemen out for the U.S. forces. Riflemen are taking this territory point right in front of the base. Meanwhile, the rear echelon troops have gone north. And another rifleman is going south here, so spreading out his troops a little bit. And 3 grenadiers coming out for the U.S. forces, for the Wehrmacht player. And he's moving them out, spread them out a little bit as well. Now, he's going grenadiers because it's not necessarily required to go MGs against the U.S. forces, because the U.S. forces really don't have an early MG themselves. So you can really get away with going grenadiers without getting an MG against the U.S. forces, because they really don't have one themselves, so you really don't have to worry about suppressing each other early on in the game. But again, if you get an MG against the U.S. forces at the beginning, then you sort of have an advantage at the same time, because the U.S. forces themselves don't have an MG at the beginning of the game. Although you can get one quick enough, it just takes a little bit. Grenadiers and riflemen and these rear echelon troops battling out. The rear echelon troops inside the house here. And they're right up in each other's faces here, battling out. And the grenadiers are in a little bit of trouble here. But these riflemen are taking heat very quickly, only down to 2 men. And down to 1. And may lose that. He's aiming directly for that rifleman. He's desperately trying to take that out. That would be a very big bonus for him to take that out so early in the game. And the U.S. forces traditionally have a very good advantage in the beginning of the game with their riflemen, as they're typically very powerful. Riflemen are at the beginning of the game. They're typically the best troops in the game. Some people like to say so, especially with Rifle Company, and particularly if you have some increased veterancy bonuses for the riflemen as well. So that also is a very good bonus to have. Grenadiers moving forward here, taking the munitions point at the bottom, and going to take the bottom victory point as well. Up top, we have our U.S. forces taking territory points up this way, have yet to take the victory point or the very top territory point. Now an MG is coming out for the Wehrmacht here, and moving it towards the center here. We'll see where he sets that up, and if he can set up in a very good position. Now a 4th rifleman out for the U.S. forces here. So quite a bit of infantry for the U.S. forces.
We're losing a capture point.
Grenadiers now moving forward up to the top, and going to spot these troops here soon enough. And rear echelon troops were up there, but now moving down here. And Grenadiers going to start taking this munitions point back. Riflemen garrisoned inside that church. 2 riflemen against these 1 grenadier here, and the grenadiers took the munitions point, but not for long, as the riflemen are going to take it right back. And setting up the MG inside this house here, and it's firing at the church, at the riflemen in the church, and the riflemen are in deep trouble there. We're going to have to just get out of there, not really going to be able to handle that. 2 grenadiers battling out here. Grenadiers fighting with these rear echelon troops inside this house. And these riflemen here have 1 veterancy and are trying to have a steady fight against these grenadiers, now moving away from them, but the grenadiers just going to take this victory point should they do that. So not a very good idea to just leave them that victory point there. Rear echelon troop has to run away, only down to 1 man. Shot him through the windows of that house. Now putting riflemen inside this house to battle it out with these grenadiers. Only 2 grenadiers here, but they did take the munitions point, and now taking the northern victory point as well. 2 riflemen have spread out a little bit, taking the fuel point and the territory munitions point at the same time. And an MG has been set up down here, took it out of the building, and has now set it up down here against these riflemen. And these riflemen are completely pinned
Orders!
and could have stayed there for just a moment to distract this MG42 a little bit so that its fire would have been automatically on these troops here, and these troops could have gotten maybe another kill.
We're back to full strength. Knock it off. Listen up.
Riflemen and these grenadiers still going at it with each other here. The grenadier is a 1-star veteran as well.
Stand ready.
And now running away from these additional riflemen that came and to reinforce the sector here. Now munitions point being taken, and these grenadiers up here just taking all this territory, took the victory point in the northern territory point, could also take this fuel point as well, but they'll sort of give away their position should they do that and move into the fuel point sector.
What the hell am I meant to do with the
But just going to go ahead and do that. Going to start taking that. Could at the very least, neutralize that from the U.S. forces, forcing them to retake it. Captain is now on the field for the U.S. forces, and we have a scout car out for the Wehrmacht. And fortunately for the U.S. forces, they do have that captain out on the field, which has 2 bazookas and could take care of this scout car. However, they're on opposite sides of the map as of right now. Riflemen about to be in trouble here, about to get blasted on by this scout car. And now running those riflemen away and trying to get out of there without losing any additional ones. Loses a whole rifleman squad there. Big loss for the U.S. forces. And the scout cars, as of the recent couple patches, automatically start with that 2-centimeter cannon. As before, you used to have to actually purchase that, which led to a lot of people not using it as nearly as much as it costs so many munitions to do so. Rear echelon troops should move over to the right just a little bit and start taking that victory point. And riflemen battling out with this scout car here, and they're trying to get up to it. And these riflemen could come around and use an anti-tank rifle grenade on it, but it looks like it moved away just in time as it was aware that these riflemen were about to do that. Now an M5 Stuart moving onto the field for the U.S. forces. Didn't bother to get another rifleman to replace the old one that he had lost. And these engineers have taken the northern munitions point there. Meanwhile, rear echelon troops taking the southern territory point while the captain takes the victory point. If there's an MG set up right here, could easily flank around that should he notice that. However, the scout car is now coming down to the bottom here to harass these rear echelon troops. But the captain is right there, so should they lure this scout car to the captain, they would be able to take care of this scout car here. Now the MG is going to come up around, maybe set up right here. Nope, just going to set up on the corner there. U.S. forces taking back the munitions point and taking back some of the northern sector here, but at the same time, these grenadiers just captured the northern victory point. Captain did launch the bazookas, and a second one hit the scout car there. Now the scout car is broken. The main gun is destroyed on it. M5 Stuart is harassing away this MG42. Doesn't really have an answer for that MG42. And now going to come around the corner here. Got to watch out for these grenadiers, though. They do have the Panzerfaust and will do a lot of damage to that light vehicle. Riflemen now taking the victory point. Must have forced away these grenadiers at some point. 2 stars on those riflemen. Not too bad there. And an additional 2-star rifleman with 5 in the squad there. So a very healthy squad. Captain now trying to take the munitions point. And gonna hold this because of this M5 Stuart here as well. These grenadiers really can't do too much about this. And Captain is only down to 3 men in that squad. And getting picked off actually pretty quickly here. Ooh, a rifle grenade comes in and almost hit that captain dead on, but he just moved out of the way just in time and took a shot there. So one of them died. But it looks like the squad gets away, and we'll be able to reinforce soon. Grenadiers now taking the southern point here. But the U.S. forces has all 3 victory points right now. So taking down the Wehrmacht very quickly. Rifleman now with a flamethrower, but getting forced away by this scout car here. Not going to be able to do too much to the scout car. Could get in there and throw an anti-tank rifle grenade at it, but not going to be able to withstand the damage for very long. Now Rifleman moving in, taking this territory point here, but there's a engineer with a flamethrower as well, so going to force away these riflemen here. M5 Stuart could move forward a little bit and handle this scout car here. But looks like he's going to move forward and start firing at these pioneers as they take that point. Grenadiers now taking the southern victory point now. So it's going to stall their loss just a little bit. And Grenadiers moving up. Looks like they may be moving to the center victory point. But there's quite a bit of troops right here. And he does have the ambulance here, so that his troops can just walk right over here, heal up, and reinforce. Grenadiers are indeed taking the center victory point, so we put some riflemen inside this house here to get some extra defense and battle it out with them. Pack 40 hits that M5 Stuart right in the frontal armor there, and so he's got to back that out of there. And he's just doing some circles up there. And now trying to force away these Grenadiers from taking the territory point here. Going to try and go back down here and take that back. This is just neutralized, so each side technically has 1 point right now, as the Grenadiers had to move back just a little bit to get away from the fire of these riflemen. Could move over to the side a little bit and still get pretty good cover and be taking that at the same time. Now moving up some Ostrupen, and he got a rather good call-in. He got 1 star with an LMG and a 2-star with an LMG, so 2 LMGs and veterancy on those Ostrupen, so a very good call-in there. A very lucky call-in. Certainly not the best you could hope for, but definitely not the worst you could hope for. Scout car moving it back in the backside, just trying to avoid the Steward here and any trouble, and looking for a good spot to start assaulting. U.S. forces now spreading out, gonna take this southern victory point and the munitions point at the same time here, but decides to keep going as the scout car spotted this and is now going to start harassing these troops. However, they do have that anti-tank rifle grenade coming right around the side, but he's maintaining very good distance from these troops, and for good reason, as the scout car is very lightly armored and could be easily taken out by a rifle grenade, or at the very least, its engine heavily damaged by a rifle grenade and then possibly finished off. Now uses that anti-tank rifle grenade, and its health is very low, but these riflemen aren't going to be able to withstand it. Going to have to retreat out of there, so he doesn't quite finish off that scout car. Now he can just back that scout car out of there and repair that up. But he only has 1 engineer out on the field, so this engineer is going to have to come all the way down there and repair that. Multiple troops now moving over, a couple Grenadiers and 1 Ostrupen. Now moving down here, and going to try and force away the U.S. forces from taking all of their stuff down here. Took the southern victory point. The northern victory point has been taken by the Wehrmacht there. And the center is still neutralized, as both sides are having a little hard time getting to each other with this MG in the center and the pack that was back there as well. The German troops are going to start spreading out and taking this area back from the U.S. forces. These rear echelon troops in a little bit of trouble here, as they're in enemy territory with a mine detector. Riflemen trying to battle it out with this MG here, distracting this MG, while these riflemen here move up and use their flamethrower to try and torch out this MG here. And he's getting right up in the face of that MG. And now the fire is going right in that building there, and that MG is going to lose out very quickly here and see if he can even get it out of there. Indeed, gets it out of there. Going to be able to go back to base and reinforce that. 2 riflemen now moving forward, but there's a lot of stuff around here that's going to be able to stop him. Although he's pulling it all back, all of his Grenadiers. He's got to pull back his pack and his mortar team eventually here. But the mortar team's going to get flamed right out of there. And scout car is a little damaged. His engine is still a little bit damaged. But now the southern point taken back by the Wehrmacht, but the northern point has been taken by the U.S. forces at the same time. So center is now available for capture, as there's nothing really here to contest it. Some Grenadiers now moving up. Looks like they got a bazooka from one of those troops. Perhaps the captain actually dropped the bazooka when the squad almost died, and now getting inside here. But it's not really going to stop the U.S. forces from taking this. So they'll be able to take that in a quick hurry. M5 forcing away some troops here. And this territory point is neutralized. Could just easily take that as well for a few extra resources. The 75mm pack howitzer is out in the field, and I love the pack howitzer. It's such a great item. A couple of them is always welcome on my team. Ostrupen now trying to force away this M5 Stuart, but the M5 Stuart is going to run right into both of these packs here, so it's about to take big wrath. And I think they might have fired at the same exact time and hit that twice. Destroyed that M5 in a very quick hurry. Pack setting up once again to fire at these grenadiers, but they're already out of there, so not really going to be able to do much there. Major now on the field. May use this Major as a retreat point where this ambulance is. That would make things a lot faster and easier for him. Rifleman now moving forward, forcing away all the Wehrmacht here, and going to start taking some of this territory right in the Wehrmacht's face, right in front of their base.
Knock it off and listen up.
And force the Wehrmacht to have to stand there and retake that. At the very least, could neutralize this area here and trying to move back away from the scout car here. But there's the captain is coming around from behind. Could launch both of his bazookas at the rear armor of this, but didn't really capitalize on that. Was just running, and maybe he didn't see his captain there. He could have actually probably destroyed that scout car, perhaps with 2 bazookas to the rear armor. It'd be a close call, but it could be done. Riflemen battling out with engineers here with the flamethrower. And the Panzer IV command tank is now out in the field. And forcing away all these riflemen here, just firing at them and getting extra kills as they run. And this rifleman here is in trouble. If this scout car should back up, could perhaps take that out. Nope, he's gonna get away, and that's barely. He has pretty much non-existent health. And the center belongs to the U.S. forces, but the top and the southern portion victory points belong to the Wehrmacht. And the Osttruppen is moving forward here and taking all the points on the northern side here. Now the U.S. forces in a little bit of a retreating situation here. Captain down to 1 man in that squad, needs to just get out of there. And medics are out on the field, as it looks like the ambulance was destroyed. Yeah, but the medics had gotten out before it had been destroyed. Now the U.S. forces in total retreat here from the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht is just overwhelming them on all fronts, except even in the center here. This Panzer IV command tank forcing them right into their base, and he actually has to get around the side of his base here to avoid this Panzer IV command tank. And he needs to start reinforcing as soon as possible here, but he just doesn't have any manpower to do that. He's very, very low on manpower because he just bought a Sherman. I believe that's the reason why he's so low on manpower. Now the Sherman moving forward. Got to move through the smoke and fire through the smoke here. Now right in front of this Panzer IV command tank, Sherman will definitely be a Panzer IV command tank one-on-one. However, the PaK-40s are set up back here, and it's going to take huge hit real soon here. It's going to set up those 2 PaK-40s. Gets hit in the back there with a bazooka and a Panzerfaust at the same time. Loses that Sherman.
Just lost a medium tank.
And Insane Simon, GG's out. Just slightly outplayed there. Actually a pretty good game. I actually really enjoyed that game. It was back and forth, but right here he just got hit by the perhaps got hit by those packs, but he turned his rear armor facing this pack of soldiers right here. They got hit by that bazooka, and one of them had pulled out a Panzerfaust and hit it at the same time, so it was just a little bit too much damage for it to handle. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.